Hello once again everyone, and welcome back. Today I decided to do a video, and what might possibly be a two-part video, on a Briggs Stratton motor. Here you see a 5 horsepower Briggs Stratton. It's about a 1970s or early 1980s model. It has been in a shed in storage from, guessing, probably 20 years. This motor here has about 17 hours of use, believe it or not. Back when it was first bought, it was on a tiller, used on a farm by my dad. And I guess something happened with the frame of the tiller, the metal, the actual metal, over the couple of years that it was being used. You know, probably about 8 hours a year, we'll say, or whatever. And so anyway, the tiller went by the wayside, and I ended up with the motor. It is a horizontal shaft, as I said, 5 horsepower Briggs Stratton. And there's a few things that are peculiar about this engine right now. The fuel in this is in there for many years. I had this running about 10-12 years ago. Left the fuel in it. Don't ask why. You'll find out. The exhaust here, if you can see that, it's totally gone. It's rotted. It fell off years ago. It's gone. I'm not exactly sure what the exhaust looked like, but it obviously must have sat here somewhere. We've got some corrosion here on the plug wire. We've got to clean it up. And this is, by the way, the original plug. The original plug right here. And the tip is actually gone. So this here, once I clean it up, is going to be not making connection. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drain the tank, find a tip to put on this plug. If I don't, it looks like this will be the first episode of a two-part maybe. So I'm going to take out the fuel, get this so that the spark plug has a place to connect, clean up this terminal, of course. I'm going to be taking out the plug and checking for spark. I'm going to check the base, of course. I'm sure there's oil in it. It's the probably original oil. I don't know. I think I may have changed it, but I can't remember. This is the breather area, so I'll take this off and clean this up a bit. I'm not going to touch nothing on the carburetor per se right now. Just empty out the fuel, check for spark, and if I'm lucky, we'll get this this motor running. Okay, we're not very far into the game, and I decided to have a look at the plug and maybe change it out for one of the plugs in my lawnmower. See if it's a match or a close enough match to get a spark and get something running. However, I'm having a bit of trouble getting the spark plug out. So I'm not going to work it too hard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a better socket set, because this here seems to be a bit loose. A better socket and a wrench. And I'm going to take my time with that and get the spark plug out. In the meantime, I am going to drain the fuel, put some fresh stuff in there and let it soak down into the tank, and then maybe hopefully this carburetor will uptake some better fuel. I need to check for fuel for spark. I can check from here to here if I can get this cleaned up. I don't need to take out the plug right now. I can leave it in. Hopefully it does have spark. No, I can't do that. I don't think so anyway. I think I have to take out the plug to check the spark in the spark plug gap. I'm not a mechanic per se, but I just got a novice idea of how things work on these motors. So anyway, that's it for now. Be back in 1 minute if I'm lucky enough to get some progress here. Okay, some good news. I think I'm in the shot here. I'll put it up a bit. Right now I'm working the spark plug back and forth. With this wrench here, it was a perfect fit. It's a 13/16. I sprayed it with some Lloyd's high performance penetrating lubricant. It's called Move It. This was given to me by a friend. I didn't know it existed, but So it was good for that stuff. I sprayed it, and after about a minute or so, just decided to put a better wrench on it, and away she goes. So what I'm doing now is I'm working the spark plug back and forth in its socket there, because I don't want to damage the threads. It's just going to take it nice and slow. When it starts to bite, I'll bring it back, and I'll keep spraying it till I get some, till I get it to move freer. The key is that this is an aluminum head. It's not to damage the threads. So I'm going to tighten it back up, keep working it back and forth. That's the process right now. Still never drained the tank yet. I'm going to get this done and move on from there. And didn't take much work. After a couple of turns, spark plug goes out. You see, I don't know if you can see that. It's a bit of corrosion in the top and a bit of green. I'm going to clean up this plug and give it a try. If not, I'll use another one if I can find something to match. And if not, like I say, just have to go and buy another plug. And this is a H8 Champion. Now this may not be the original plug, but this plug goes back 20, well, let me see, it's got to be 30 years old. So, you know, I don't know if Dad changed the plug ever, but it would be one of the original plugs, put it that way. Anyway, we're in. The cylinder head is great. Threads never got no damage, just a little bit of corrosion at the tip, I guess, and we're off to the races. I have to find a tip for this now and clean up the wiring here and see if I can find some spark and drain the tank. Okay, I'm going to use a power saw file, see if we're in shot here. Yeah, I'm going to use a power saw file to clean the inside of this this terminal here. Look at the rust coming off of that. Now I did find a used plug, but unfortunately it came out of the saw, my power saw, and I put it aside, but I think the reason why I replaced it was because, well, obviously the plug was bad. The saw wasn't running right, so there was some spark, but it didn't seem to want to idle very good. It's a Husqvarna Rancher 55, and it was the original plug, but I thought it had carburetor issues, but I guess it was finally time to buy a new plug, and that solved the problem right after the get-go. But anyway, I'll clean this up, and I'm going to see if I can, I got a brand new plug in the house, but it's a huge plug, but it's alright. I can use that to check for spark. This is the power saw plug, and like I say, it could be dead. And of course you can see the difference here. The thing is, the size, the depth I should say, of these threads are about the same, I think. Yeah, so I could use that just to check for spark, and possibly even just to get it going, but wouldn't run it for long. So yeah, that's it. I'm hoping this plug is going to work, by the way. I got a funny feeling it will, if I can get spark. If not, we're at a standstill, because then we have to go into the electrical of it all and inside here and check, see why we're not getting spark. Okay, here is the spark plug that I found, and I took the cap off the top. As you can see, compared to this one, it's gargantuan. And what the problem is I'm having now is, you see, the threads are getting destroyed here. It's not threading on properly. It's pretty well corroded. Although I can get it tight, put on tight enough that this spark plug, if it was good, would be able to check to see if this got spark. Unfortunately, I tried my power saw spark plug, this gargantuan spark plug, and the original, and I'm not seeing no spark. So that means I have to go internal. Unless all three spark plugs are bad, I will pick up another one for part 2 that suits this motor, but I'm pretty sure a lawnmower spark plug will work. I got to go inside this this flywheel, this starting cup and flywheel assembly here, and see if there's a point system in there. There's probably a coil that needs to be cleaned. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm sure it's going to be something that is repairable. because this was a running motor when it was put away. And by the way, it's not seized. I failed to show you that. The spark plug is out. And I can see the valves inside moving, the exhaust and intake. So it's just a matter of two things now. Spark and fuel. So draining the tank, putting fresh fuel in there, cleaning up the carburetor as best I can, just from an external point of view. Clean up the air filter. Checking the base oil. Of course, when I get the engine running, I'm going to change the oil. I'm going to need a spark plug. So that's that. Looks like it's going to be a part 2. I won't have time to continue on today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I look forward to part 2 if I can get some time and some parts, and we'll get on to go with that. Thanks for watching. Just a little bonus footage for you folks before I go. Took off the bolt here, and there's 2 bolts down here, and this should come off, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. A bit of dirt down in there from over the years. This is an easy spin Briggs Stratton, by the way. The starting cup is, for some reason, the design makes it easy to spin. And I want to show you, like I said, this is all new to me. Okay, we have a point system. Not a point system, sorry, a coil. And so what I'm going to do now, I got a little bit of time. We have a fair bit of corrosion on the flywheel itself. I cleaned it up, put a little bit of sandpaper in there if I can. I'll have to loosen these bolts, I think. These 2 bolts here, take off this coil, and sandpaper the ends here where it touches the flywheel. Clean the flywheel and move on. I thought it would be a point system that was going to take me a bit longer. So here we go. Just a quick try one more time. Got one bolt out here now, removing the other, and looks like it's ready to come out there now. So let's see what corrosion we have here. I know it's on the flywheel there. Let's see what we have here. And it looks like the wire is intact. It does have a bit of gunk here, which is dirt. Okay, that's good. Don't want to break off that wire. It looks like the wire is making connection and joining here. But as you can see, we do have corrosion here and where it touches the flywheel. So now I'm going to go off camera and do this. Clean this up and clean that up. You want to put, when you put this back, the coil back, you need to put a thin piece of paper in between here and here. It doesn't touch. This is like a magneto kind of thing. It works on a magnet to create spark. So you want to make sure the gap is about the thickness of, let me see, maybe a butter box, not even maybe, a tea bag box or something like that. Anywhere around that spec should be fine. I'm going to clean this up and get back to you. Okay, sadly, I only have very fine sandpaper. This is the paper I use for working on guitars, for doing bridges and nut work, and it's 400. I would like to have a heavier grit, but it is taking off some of the gunk. I've noticed on the flywheel itself here is does seem like a kind of a gum on it, whatever that is. I don't know. And that's a bit of black here, so it could be some oil seepage in the head. Not sure. So got one side done there, and here's the other. Well, it's just the one here, I believe. Let me see. Could that be right? Yeah, it's just got the one sensor area where the magneto kind of picks up the, I'm not exactly sure of the terminology, but where it gets the spark. So it fires here when the coil is touching. I've sanded this here with the fine sandpaper. It's not taking up a whole lot, but I can see a little bit of shine on the edges. Not sure if that's going to be enough. Now, behind the flywheel, if I have to pull this wire goes behind the this flywheel here. Never been at that before. Need a flywheel puller, I would say. So we'll have to see how it goes. So here we go, a little demonstration. Getting ready to put back the coil here. So I'm using this sandpaper, piece of sandpaper. It's pretty thin. So you just put it over the area that you want to have your your power pack here on, and that'll give you the distance between here and here, hopefully. It doesn't seem to be too thin or too thick, so. And when you're replacing these bolts, you see one of these here have a little wire connected to it, so that has to be connected, and hopefully it'll thread, and it is. And then you place the other one in the other area here. You'll notice that this slot is a bit wide, so it allows for some movement of this power pack here. So take that, tighten it down as is, and you should be able to slip that paper out, and then your power pack will be close enough to the flywheel to make that magnetic or that electronic or electrical connection and create spark. Not too tight. This is all aluminum, so just need to be stationary. And away you go. I doubt this is going to fix it, but I think I may have to pull the flywheel, and I don't have a flywheel puller, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm getting into when it comes to that. I do see some excessive gunk here, so I don't know what that's about. It could be, I mean, there's very low hours on this motor, so I don't know what that might be. Could be just gunk built up over the years, something spilt on it, I would suppose. So once that's on, you see, slip the paper out and check to see if the flywheel spins freely, and it does. And right there in this area here is where all the magic happens when it comes to the spark. Anyway, get off camera and give this a try. And if you did notice, forgot this part. This here is some kind of a wind deflector or something. So one bolt gonna come off, this one here, and that gonna go back on like that, like this here. My mistake, and I'm gonna. The reason why I'm trying to shut off the camera all the time is because I don't want the video to run too long. So I'll see if I can assemble this quickly enough. Where I am removing the coil again, or the power pack, whatever you want to call it, I made sure to reinsert the piece of sandpaper, because what will happen is one side could drop and hit the flywheel, and it could do damage. So that's a novice mistake by forgetting this. Right about there for some reason. Let's see. I think this must slide in somehow. There you go. It's kind of got a notch I got to slip into. Why, I'm not sure. I guess so it don't bend down and hit the flywheel. Okay, retighten. You don't need to see that. Okay, I'm hoping I'm still in shot here. Basically, I got the plug out and connect it to the coil. And I'm here in the shade for a reason. I don't know, this might be pretty dark in this video, but it's probably not. But here in the shade, just checking to see if I can get the spark. As I feel over the motor, sadly I'm seeing no spark. So it looks like I have to go into the flywheel itself or replace the coil. The coil was working. I can't see how it could fail. I could probably clean it again. The wire could be broke, but I doubt it. The wire seems to be okay, so it looks like it's probably something behind the flywheel, and that's something I can't do today. So that's the end of part one. If I get a chance in the coming days, I'll see if I can get a flywheel puller and check behind there and get the spark going. I was sort of disappointed at first, but you know, like I say, this motor is a 1970s or early 1980s. I've had this going once a long time ago, and I put it away, left a little bit of gas in there. Briggs Stratton, as far as I'm concerned, is a wonderful motor, and I would have thought that I could have got this going again, but I did set it up for failure by leaving fuel in it for sure. But the fuel is not the issue. Before I go, I could check to see if it's gassing the plug, and I think it is. Just put it in just hand tight, pull the choke. The choke is here. Go over a few times. I know I have the spark plug wire on, but there's no spark. But just so you know, I will check another spark plug after. This is the original one, by the way. I could be a fool. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it is fueling the spark plug. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but the spark plug is definitely wet and it smells of gas. Okay, so I'm going to remove this tip off of this one and put it on the big old bronker of a spark plug. And actually, no, I'll use the powers. Excuse me. Both plugs are put away. Both plugs were put away. Okay, I'm going to use the power sub plug. Although this one failed on me too, but just to check for spark, and then I'll use the big Bronco one there, whatever you want to call it. Spark. Nothing there. And so, last case scenario, a brand new NGK plug. Slugged it up. I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Yep, I'm grounding the plug here, and like I say, you should be just able to see the electrode jumping here from the spark plug tip to the anode, whatever they call it. Okay, that's the end of part 1, guys. Sorry that I couldn't get it going, but I look forward to part 2 if I can get the courage to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody.